What's up guys, this is Yacine, and today we're going to be going over the best insta-win blowouts for when you're going first post game 1. So there is 53 of them here, which is quite a lot. And obviously there are side deck cards for when you're going first only, so you're only going to be seeing them like one game out of 2 or 3, depending on how skillful you are. And yeah, like I said, 53 cards to cover today in 4 sections, so the cards that you basically have to side, otherwise you're doing something wrong, I guess I can say. But not really, I guess there is always like some valid options and some other alternatives, which will be in solid options. The ones that are niche, so not everybody can play them, but they're still not too bad. And the ones that are like and subscribe. But yeah, before we go any further, you already know the drill. Smash the like and subscribe button. Check out my Blowouts and Crystron spreadsheet on my website, yacineygo.com. Very first link at the very top of the description box below. And also watch this video until the end. Don't be a bitch. Okay, so first things first is Mistaken Arrest, which is a card that I think you have to side in Malice, but not in every deck, because it can definitely backfire on you. Malice, it doesn't really search too much from deck to hand. As a matter of fact, it barely searches at all. I mean, it only really searches with Red Ransom. I mean, it's the only Malice card that searches, but there's still Terraforming and some indirect cards like Lobelion and stuff like that. Maybe if you play them. If you're playing the Fiendsmith engine, it can definitely hurt you a little bit more. By the way, I'm pretty sure this is Mistaken Arrest. I always get like tricked up between Mistaken Arrest and Shared Ride. But yeah, this is Shared Ride. And I honestly think if you want to play one or the other, Mistaken Arrest is probably better. And also this card is very good in Unchained. And Unchained is not too bad right now. It's actually kind of a cool deck. So yeah, I think Mistaken Arrest, fantastic option. So yeah, it probably will remain at the very top of this section right here. Shared Ride is it's kind of like a maxi, so obviously I can't really complain too much. It's just that I usually prefer cards that say, like, my opponent cannot do this, rather than say, like, my opponent can still do this, but I get rewarded for that. So unless it's, like, a very grindy format, like with Sky Striker mirrors and stuff, I usually don't think this card is too fantastic. Full Force Virus is dog shit, don't even consider it. It just doesn't really cover too much ground. Deck Devastation and Eradicator Virus are much better, and even then, they're still not even being played right now, but I still think they're good cards. It's just that they're not seeing the respect that they deserve, man. Yo, they really gotta put some respect on the viruses. I love them. I mean, I don't like getting contaminated in real life, but you get what I'm saying. Spiritual Water Art is very niche because it's only really playable in a handful of decks such as, you know, Mermail and Crystron, and I can't really see Mermail playing Spiritual Water Art because it's a trap card and it's kind of like a hardcore combo deck. In Crystron, it's not too bad, but I don't know. Like, are you really playing this? Are you really like tributing like a Tristalos maybe so that you can use this, or like another water monster? It's not bad, obviously. It's just like the timing for it. Like, you usually want to shotgun this on draw phase or standby so that you also get information on your opponent's hand and also make him brick. So I think it's, if anything, it's like better than Talent in Crystron if you're going first. But I still am not like the biggest fan because there's kind of better cards to play, and this is a little too specific since it really has to tribute a water. But it is most definitely the best spiritual water art out there. Sorry, the best spiritual art card out there. Gravity Collapse is yet another niche option that is very, very good. But then again, it's just, you gotta tribute a synchro monster. So it's pretty much like the exact same drawback as spiritual water art. It's just like, if you can only use these cards when you're already kind of playing the game, but you always have to be pessimistic in life. And always gotta tell yourself that things are not gonna go well, and if things do go well, then it's a bonus. And if things don't go like well at all, then, you know, you were already expecting the worst case scenario, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, don't try to play cards that rely on other cards doing like resolving and stuff like that. That's the reason why these cards can't be anywhere above. Otherwise, yeah, if Gravity Collapse didn't have a activation requirement, oh my god, he would have been the best card on Earth. But yeah, definitely not the case. Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, I mean, it's only really playable in like sprites, so not much to say there either. Artifact Sanctum is always going to be like a solid option if you want to thrust into Sanctum, into Lancia, so obviously I can't say too much there, but I think it's going to stay at the very bottom just because it doesn't cover too much ground, and if you want to play Sanctum, it's obviously as a one-of for thrust, so it means that you're playing thrust, you're playing one Sanctum, and then you're playing 1 to 3 Lancias, so that you can really specifically side it in for like Malice and potentially Crystron. But apart from that, it doesn't really cover enough ground, and obviously there's no other real artifact that you're summoning off of Sanctum, like ever. So yeah, that might be a small issue right there. Dragon's Bind is actually quite interesting. I mean, it is still a niche card because I'm assuming that Razul is going to see less play. There's going to be like more diversity of the decks that people play. And honestly, if you brick and you don't even have what you want, and like you got this, and you can't even make like a dragon monster 2500 or more attack, like you got no Bestial, no Dark Rebellion, this card is useless, so it also makes you like deck build worse, and I'm not actually a super big fan, unfortunately, right now. Power Filter, I mean, it's good against Tubel, and I mean, I can't think of like Malice, maybe, not really, not enough. Fiendsmith, yeah, you can't summon Requiem, you can't summon Lurie, I guess. It's not bad. I mean, if anything, it's like between niche and like bottom of solid options, but yeah, maybe when we get like more Ubel decks running around, this card could be getting better. But I mean, it's not too bad if like you want to side it in like 10-Pie Dragon, where all of your monsters have above 1,000 attack anyways. There can only be one is actually still pretty good, but it's just a one of, and I can't really think of like too many decks where it's like super worth it. I mean, it's really good against Malice, obviously, even like Malice Fiendsmith, but they can still Nightmare Cerberus it. That would be kind of difficult, but maybe. Yeah, Dragon, Cyberse into Fiend, but yeah, they can't use like a Fiendsmith and then a Malice, and then yeah, so that's... Yeah, it's not, it can still be outed, unfortunately. And yeah, I'm assuming that if you have this and you don't have full combo, then you're probably losing. And also, it's just gonna be collateral damage for like Lightning Storm and stuff like that. It's not lingering, so it can't be too high on the list. Triple Tactic Talent. I mean, if you're not main decking this card, then you're probably side decking it. If the card was good last format for you, then obviously the card is still good for you this format. Some people are gonna say like, oh yeah, but it's limited now, which means that it's a better card than it was before. Therefore, you have to play it, but I don't usually think like that. Like, for me, there's no difference between a card that is at 1 and a card that is a 3 if the effect is, like, pretty much the same. But for some people, the psychology of, oh, yeah, but it got limited for a reason really gets to them. And, you know, all of a sudden, they really feel like they have to play Talent. But then again, is it good in your deck? Maybe it is. Call by the Grave, on the other hand, that I think is insanity. If you're not making this main decking this card, then you at the very least have to side deck it. This card is Exodia right now. It covers so much ground. It's good going first and second. So, a very flexible card. But, I mean, it's gonna stop, like, the Chummies. It's gonna stop, like, Ash. It's not gonna stop, like, the Damis cards and Imperm and Nibiru. But it's not the end of the world. And Imperm, obviously. So, yeah, quite a lot of hand traps that do not lose the Call by the Grave. But it's still very good against your opponent's engine. Like, against Blue Eyes, you Call by the Grave the Maiden of White. That's absolutely devastating. No True Light and also no Monster Reborn effect. And obviously, you can Call by the Grave, like, a bunch of things against pretty much every deck out there. Like, even against Malice, it's not bad. Against, like, their actual engine. Like, you can Call by the Grave like a White Binder. It's low-key pretty good, if you ask me. Like, you can't get, like, the Banish 3, and then, you know, like, you're not drawing a card. You're not doing too much. So, definitely a big fan of Call by the Grave. Non-fusion area, this card will be getting better over time once we get Dragon Tail. So, yeah, you can just prevent them from playing whatsoever. It's pretty much like a permanent Dimensional Bear. But at the current moment, this card is a little cheeks. Macrocosmos, obviously not too bad, but I still don't think it's, like, great, because you're just gonna end up getting destroyed by Lightning Storm and Duster, which everybody plays. Whereas if you play something that lingers, it may be a little better. Imperial Iron Wall, I mean, if you can play this as a one-of in your Odeon deck, this is insanity. So this is for sure a solid option, and we're gonna be seeing a couple of Imperial Iron Walls this format. Different Dimension Ground, alright, okay. I actually don't think I'm gonna get a hate for this, but I actually think this is the best going first card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. It covers so much ground, it's not even funny. Like, it's so good against everything when you think about it. Like, Mermail, okay, I was gonna say Malice, but not really. But every other engine that they play, like Fiendsmith and Bestials, and then it's really good against, I guess, Raziel, like the combo versions. It's really good against Mitsurugi to some degree. I mean, it's just overall insane. It's broken against Memento, like almost a turn skip completely. Obviously, they get Memento Fusion in the grave, but that's about it. It's just so good. And also, just like, you know, the other cards here, I mean, these two cards, it lingers. So that's one of the main thing that makes these cards broken is the fact that they linger. So it's just, like, the fact that you don't have to worry about, like, getting sacked by something that destroys all of your spells and traps at the same time. Best feeling ever. Whereas the continuous cards, yeah, sure, they're permanent. They stick for longer, but also they're just like a little less reliable. Anyways, Kashtira Fenrir, also a great card. This is very similar to like Call by the Grave, where you can main deck it or side deck it, and it's just always good. Going first and second every single time. Also, same thing with Triple Tactic Talent. Deck Devastation Virus, I think, is broken in Mitsurugi, because, you know, you just tribute your rituals and then you destroy pretty much everything. And also you get back your ritual monsters, so it's kind of free real estate. And if you play a bunch of Bestials, then it's even better for you, because the Bestials can be tribute fodder for both Deck Dev and Eradicator. I mean, honestly, I just always think that these cards are going to be good. Literally every single time. They're just fantastic cards overall to have in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Deck Devastation Virus against Raziel. Yeah, not too bad. The only survivor is Ice Raziel. I've been saying this for 10 billion years, but yeah, it is true. Anyways, Triple Tactic Thrust. Obviously, I would be delusional if I didn't put it in must side if your deck can play it. This card's really good. Really, really good. I mean, it can get you into different Dimension Ground, or Sanctum, or Dimensional Barrier, or Blackout Laughs, which is the next card here, or Karma Cannon, or literally anything. It's just like the flexibility of this card. And also going second, you don't have to play infinite board breakers. You can play board breakers as one-ofs because you can also thrust into board breakers. So you can thrust into Floodgates when you're going first, or thrust into going second cards when you're going second. Therefore, this card covers a lot of ground, and it's going to be useful very often in your deck. So if you are incorporating a board breaker approach to your deck, this is hands down the best, or at least one of the best cards that you can play. Blackout Laughs is a remarkable card if you're playing a deck like White Forest. This is by far the best deck to utilize this card. I really like the interaction between LZ and Blackout Laughs against like big boards of Raziel Detonator. You can go LZ in hand, pitch the Blackout Laughs. You can't even get hit by like Dominus, Purge, or Impulse yet, even though it's irrelevant against Detonator, but you get the point. And then you can chain Blackout Laughs, call Raziel Detonator, and then your opponent cannot use Raziel Detonator again. And also, this bypasses completely, you know, Twins with Eclipse and stuff like that. So I think that this card is absolutely one of your best friends if you're playing White Forest. It's basically a board breaker, and going first, it's obviously an incredible card. I think against Yummy, if you call the Link 1 while it's on the field, you basically just win. So it's just going to keep getting better and better over time. Even against Dragon Tail, it's going to get good. Against K9, I could see it being really good. You can call the Ripper and stuff like that. Huge, I mean, such a good card. Huge fan of Blackout Laughs, just overall as a card, so obviously it's going to be a solid option. And I also even consider this in Blue Eyes because, you know, you're always going to be discarding a card for wishes. So if you're discarding a card that still has a good graveyard effect, I mean, good for you, right? What this card is right now, it reminds me a lot of like the good old school breakthrough scale. So, you know, just the fact that you get like a card that has two usages, and both use cases for the card are good, even though they're different. Karma Cannon is very good when you get Shifted, but Shifted is no longer a real thing, so I'm honestly just going to downgrade it to niche but nice. But I'll honestly just going to remain there. But this card does lose to, you know, Duster, Lightning Storm, and stuff like that. It's not a card that you can just flip at any moment, or like very easy to search, such as Imperial Iron Wall, in order to counter Evenly Matched, which is like an issue for the Odeon deck. So this card fixes flaws, but Karma Cannon, it doesn't fix enough flaws. It's just that it was good against Shifter, which is now no longer worth really considering. Light Imprisoning Mirror is very cool. I mean, it's really good against the Fiendsmith engine. It's not bad against Raziel whatsoever. You shut down Detonator, actually, is a light. X Raziel. And then, yeah, okay, yeah, it does lose to Aggregator, but it is what it is. Yeah, Ice Raziel, there we go, 2 light monsters. Yeah, it's a cool card overall. Yeah, I mean, it does cover a lot of ground. And Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is definitely not bad either. Solemn Strike, oh my god, another broken card. So freaking insane. And Solemn Judgment, on the other hand, is, I mean, equally as good depending on the deck that you're playing. These two cards, you're gonna see a lot of them this format. You know, again, Duster, Lightning Storm are everywhere, which means that sometimes you can argue that Judgment is better. It really does depend on the deck you're playing. If your deck makes Omni Negates, then Solemn Strike is better, because I just think it's a better card overall, since realistically, you're pretty much only negating monster effects and summons anyways. Like, even if Solemn Judgment was like Solemn Strike and everything else, I still wouldn't prefer... I prefer just only paying 1500 life points rather than halving my life points. But either way, negating monster effects, that's really cool, and again, you're usually negating summons regardless. But if you have a bunch of back row, then Solemn Judgment can protect all of them. But obviously, if you're playing Crystron, then you got Infinity and Dragster, for example. Yes, I keep mentioning Crystron because Crystron best deck, and I know you agree, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video, which obviously just proves that you're a goat. Anyways, Heatwave, obviously if your deck can play it, then you're playing it, but there's not a lot of decks that can play it, like Tenpai Dragon and Ryogi. That's, I think, pretty much it. But the issue with, like, Heatwave is that if your opponent is on a handshap approach, then obviously you still have to deal with those handshaps when you're trying to OTK on turn 3. Whereas if it's a board breaker approach, or like a deck full of gas, then Heatwave is Exodia, because now it renders like all the cards that your opponent has into completely useless, irrelevant trash. So yeah, definitely do like this card. Necro Valley, it's not a bad card, but you're gonna be affected by it, so it's very niche. Probably gonna be at the very bottom. Yeah, I mean, it's at least it's not like in the dog shit section, but I'm probably gonna have to start putting some cards in that section. Yeah, Summoning Curse, I mean, it's fine in Mimighoul, but it's so niche. Goes in Match, this is not really good. Silent Graveyard, garbage actually, but it's It's kind of like a Dweller, but there's better cards to play. Like, there's different Dimension Ground, so why the frick would you play this card? It's absolutely nowhere, and it's not any better. Crush card, garbage, but it used to be kind of playable in like Vanquish Soul to beat Kashtira. So this card isn't like trash overall, but it definitely is trash right now. But when we'll get the Regenesis cards, maybe it's gonna make Crush card a little better because they all have high attacks. So when you Crush card, get rid of like any dark monster with low attack. So like basically any Vanquish Soul that can turn into the Link one, it could be worth playing. Wait, hold on a second. Is the Vanquish Soul Link one even a dark? I'm pretty sure it is, but for some reason I'm just doubting myself and I think that it's an Earth. Yeah, it's a rock, but it's a dark. There you go. That's the reason why. Okay, yeah, cool. Anti-Spell. Great card, but it's a one-of. So, I mean, you're not going to see it too often, but that doesn't change the fact that it's a great card, of course. There's a lot of decks that play a lot of spells. Engraver is basically a spell when you think about it. So, Anti-Spell also covers monsters sometimes. That's cool. The Odeon deck, every monster is a spell. So, Man with a Mark and Anubis, they lead to the field spell, which then sets the trap and stuff. So even against like trap decks, Anti-Spell can theoretically be good. It's just that again, it's an unsearchable one-of unless you're playing the Odeon deck, which is the reason why there's not too much for me to say here, other than the fact that it's a good card that can backfire against you, but it covers a lot of ground even when it doesn't look like the greatest. Gravekeeper's Inscription, if you can play this card, you're absolutely playing this card. I mean, it lingers, and it's pretty much on the same level as Different Dimension Ground, but it's more specific. So that's kind of like the issue that I have, but this card can protect you from Bestials if you're going first, and also going second. It can technically be a board breaker against Malice, because now you just call the effect of neither player can banish cards from the grave, and then your opponent is never going to be going Whitebinder, can't even banish the White Rabbit in order to get the MTPO7, so you're protecting yourself from several disruptions by using Gravekeeper's Inscription, and also it shuts down, like I said, the Bestials and stuff like that. This can really help you out quite a lot. White Howling is trash, because if you're playing a water deck, there's better cards to play, and yeah, there's just better cards to play. Stygian Dirge, yeah, I mean, this card wasn't played before, so honestly, it's not going to be played now. Crossout, I'm actually going to put at solid option, probably at the very top, because I don't think this is a card that you have to side. And the reason why I say this is because Crossout made a lot of sense as a card that you're always bringing in going first when it was a 3, because you know, now if you, I mean, back then when you were trying to stop like Mochimi Fueros, you could actually do 1 Crossout, 1 Fua, but now it really, 3 Crossout, 1 Fua, but now it really makes no sense to do 1-1, because, yeah, it's pretty much like playing a Brilliant Fusion and a Garnet, it's just not worth it at all. So yeah, you're either playing this card just to stop like the generic hand traps that you're playing anyways, or you're just not playing this card whatsoever. But if it's a mirror match, then at the very least, it can, you know, also cover the engine cards that your opponent plays. So it's not too bad. It's still a good card, obviously, but yeah, it definitely got worse, like in terms of actual like relevance than before. Not just because you play 2 less copies, but because it's not worth playing like 1 copy sometimes. Metaltron is a very good card. If you're playing this as a going second card, then you also might as well side it in going first. I mean, it's good in the Razor Mirror, it's good in the Malice Mirror, so that's nice. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool card, and it's also good like in the Fiendsmith. I mean, it's actually very good. Very good, very good, very good. Probably gonna put it there, maybe. Yeah, I mean, potentially. It's a proactive card, which is something that I like a lot. Whereas Thrust and Talent, they both have the same drawback of being very reactive. You gotta wait until your opponent does something for them to be live. But with these cards, no, they're always basically utilizable. I guess you can kind of argue in reality Judgment should be above Strike, even though I like Strike more, but the fact that it just negates like Duster and stuff, that's pretty big. Secret Village of the Spellcaster is very niche, not bad at all. Probably gonna be like somewhere here. Whatever, I don't care. Mind Drain, yeah, nah, not worth playing. Soul Drain is actually very good. Yeah, this one's probably there. Again, though, it's just another card that's just gonna be getting eaten by Duster and Lightning Storm. Trap Trick, pretty solid. You can flip this on draw phase and get basically any of the normal traps that you're playing, but if you're playing Trap Trick, then you're playing at the very least 2 copies of the other trap that you're playing, so yeah, it's basically just, it's never as good as the card that you're trap tricking into, if that makes sense. Dimensional Fissure is pretty much on the same level as Macrocosmos, but a little better, because if you're going first, then you can also just play through Veiler and stuff like that. Skill Drain, I mean, it's probably like on the same level as Anti-Spell, and also very similar arguments. If you can Skill Drain, I mean, if you can King of the Sky Prison into Skill Drain either in Odeon or Labyrinth, that's really cool. Same thing with Iron Wall and Anti-Spell. Grave of the Super Ancient Organism. This card will eventually get a little better once we get Dragon Tail. It's a really cool card. I mean, it's not garbage either. It's very good against like random BS like Despia, but yeah, it's not good right now, because of the fact that Mitsurugi doesn't really care too much. He can just make Detonator and destroy it. Yeah, honestly, it's not a great format for this card. Dimensional Barrier is insanely good. Probably at the very top of solid options, but I actually don't even think you have to main deck this card. There are so many other options that potentially are better, that this is actually just a card that if you want to play it, you can play it, but it doesn't cover like 100% of the ground out there. Like against Malice, it's not great, even though, yeah, obviously different dimension ground is not great, but this literally does nothing. I mean, yeah, you can call the Fiendsmiths, I mean, either Xyz or Fusion, which is not fantastic. Different dimension ground actually just shuts down all the Fiendsmith plays, and also all the Bestial plays. You can argue that against Fiendsmith, Bestial, Malice, different dimension ground is still a card that you can side in, but I would never bother siding in Dimensional Barrier against that deck. And also against Raziel Fiendsmith, it's not the best, whereas different dimension ground is pretty solid. So, I don't know. Still, this card is insane in Labyrinth because you can just loop it again and again. You can obviously loop different dimension ground as well, but this just feels better because it doesn't hurt you whatsoever. Harpy's Featherstorm is obviously the best card in the niche section because not everybody can play it. However, you can make a Castel in Raziel and then use Featherstorm, but it's not really worth it. You're going neg a lot. You're just sacrificing your line of play and just going for another one instead. Rivalry of the Warlords is probably on the same level as Gozen Match. In other words, I don't really care too much. Mass Change, I mean, yeah, Dark Claw is a really cool card, but who cares? I mean, yeah, Forbidden Droplet, if that was a staple, then maybe Mass Change would be nice, because then you don't lose the Forbidden Droplet, but you lose the Dark Cooler, but it doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, I don't really think, yeah, just like Raziel can also just run over Dark Claw in like 2 seconds. Yeah, it's probably just going to be there, unfortunately. Solemn Scolding, that's garbage, because if you draw like multiples, then it's useless. Magic Deflector, I never really put in too much thought into it, because right now, like Raziel and stuff, doesn't play like too many quick play spells, but I mean, if they played like the Board Breaker approach with like Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse, maybe it could be decent, but they can just play another one, like they can chain another one. And also, like against Malice, I mean, you negate like the Fiat spell, whatever, it's not that great. Like, there's better cards that you can play, so I would probably just put it here, honestly. It's just not worth playing. Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, maybe on the same level as Light Imprisoning Mirror. Mischief of the Gnomes is a really cool one because you get, like, a double usage, very similar to, like, Black Gold Laughs. Again, you can notice the trend, right? And finally, Zombie World. Same problem, like Secret Village of the Spellcasters. It's a field spell, so it's really easy to search, but it's a card that just loses to Dust Red Lightning Storm. So yeah, I think you can kind of see where this is going. Obviously, we're done now, but most of the broken cards are cards that either linger or that negate really, like, broken things. Like, this can negate the cards that usually would destroy pretty much every card here. Or, you know, cards that save you from hand traps, or cards that are good going first and second, such as all these cards. And also the cards in solid options. You can argue that some of them could even be a must side, but not for me. So that's the way I see it. I don't really see myself siding Dimensional Barrier in pretty much any deck that I play, but I can definitely see myself siding, you know, different Dimension Ground, Solemn Strike, and Call by the Grave in pretty much any deck that I play. I mean, at least like one of the two, and then obviously Call by the Grave if I'm not at least main decking, because I think that these cards are actually unfair. Metal Tronus, I think, though, could maybe be delegated, but I don't know. Maybe it's gonna have to be there. Just because, like, you gotta play the card that also matches, like, your opponent's monster. It's still a good card, though. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe here. I don't know. I've got no idea. But yeah, you guys let me know how you feel about this tier list in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.